Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to your first new moon report of 2023. So I did promise to bring you new content. I did promise to bring you new types of content, and I also promised to start bringing more of the skills that I haven't really used that much. So I really hope that this fulfills that for you. I really hope that you enjoy all of the things that I'm going to start to bring you over the next few weeks and from here on in. So this is for the new moon in Pisces. So the new moon in Pisces is taking place on the 20th of February, give or take a day on either side wherever you are in the world. This is going to be happening at 7:14 a.m. So this is UK time. Remember, I'm based in the UK, so I'm always going to be using the time that speaks to where I am, right? The other thing that I wanted to mention as well, this Pisces new moon is at 1 degree, all right? So this is a big deal because we've got a few of these. And what this really, for me, speaks to is, first of all, the magician energy in the tarot. So this is about manifesting, absolutely. And I got to say, this is definitely a manifesting new moon for sure. It's a really, really nice new moon. And to be honest with you, there's not masses happening with it. This is a lot easier. It's a lot of an easier energy than we've been blessed with, let's say, recently. So stuff to think about. All right, so I'm going to get into it because I've got a lot to share with you. I really hope you stick around. I really hope you love all of the new things that I'm going to be doing from here on in. Yes, it's going to look very different to what there was previously, but I really hope you love and enjoy it the same way as everything else that I've brought you. Why? Because as you know, I always put my heart and soul into everything that I do. So with that said, let's get into it. So first things first, what is a new moon, right? So a new moon is a fresh start. Yes, this is a point of conception. So what happens when we have a new moon is that the sun and the moon come together. They come into, this is like the celestial parents, if you like. Celestial mum, that's Luna, the moon. You've got celestial dad, that's the sun, Sol, and they come together, right? And which is one of the reasons that it's called a dark moon, because you can't see it, because it's being not eclipsed, but it's being sort of almost reborn, regenerated by the sun. Now, for those of you astrology knowledge people and knowers, you all know what a cazimi is. So when a planet comes into a conjunction with the sun, it's said to go cazimi. One thing that I find really interesting is that no astrologer ever mentions that the moon goes cazimi once a month, and that cazimi is known as our new moon. So yes, it is a point of starting. It's a fresh start, a fresh beginning, a new beginning, right? But at the same time, a new moon is also a dark moon, right? So what happens when masculine and feminine energy combine? You get growth, you get conception. So yes, this is a fresh start. It's a new beginning. It is where something is initiated. But remember, because this is technically happening in the dark, which is why a new moon is a dark moon, there's not really enough light there, all right? So the sun is the masculine, active realm, the celestial tones, and the moon itself is the feminine and receptive and material tones, right? So ultimately, a new moon is a fresh start, but it's a fresh start in terms of the spiritual and the physical. This is how manifestation works. It's not just one sort of energy, it's both energies, right? So a new moon in Pisces is a chance for us to dream. It's a chance for us to dream big, and it's a chance for us to shape the magic that it's going to require to get certain dreams off the ground and out into the world. So this is kind of a big moment in a sense. Now, why I feel like this is also a really big deal is because this new moon happening in Pisces, it's basically right at the beginning of the sign. On the 7th of March, Saturn is going to move into the sign of Pisces. So this new moon is at 1 degree, and then you've got Saturn at 28 degrees. So that's only basically because you've got the 28, 29, and then the first, the 0 degree, right? And then you've got the first degree. So it's basically within a 4 degree orb of Saturn. And this for me strikes really interesting because it has this kind of energy or this flavor of, this is what we might be getting when Saturn comes into Pisces. So I'm really kind of interested and intrigued by this. It's making some interesting aspects as well. So the new moon is going to be trine to the south node. This is giving this new moon a kind of transformative kind of energy. especially because the South Node right now is in the sign of Scorpio. So this could be showing all of us in some way, shape or form what we're ready to release, what we're ready to let go of. Yes, I do have my notes to the side of me on the screen, so you'll have to bear with me. If I look like I'm not looking at you, it is because I'm looking at my touchstone, all right? So no panic, no worries. It also offers us an element of completion and access to the inner cosmic dreaming. And the reason I say this, the South Node is an eliminative kind of energy. It is what we're releasing, what we're letting go of. One of the ways that I also like to look at the South Node is it's kind of like the springboard that you push off of so that you can go for your North Node, wherever that might be at any given moment. So the South Node is currently in the sign of Scorpio. For those of us that were born with this placement, you know how we've been feeling. Right? Which means we naturally have our North Node in the sign of Taurus. So if the North Node is what we're looking for, that South Node is basically what gave us the foundation we needed, or the impetus, or even the firm structure to kick off of. It's kind of like, you know when swimmers do that thing where they do the somersault and they kick off of the wall? That's how I see the South Node. It gives you that thing that you can launch yourself into. Now, being in the sign of Scorpio, it really is about depth. So this isn't going to be surface level, like, oh, I need to maybe dress a different way. This is about addressing your wounds, your hurts, your traumas. It's about really being honest with yourself about what you have to release in order for these dreams to happen. So because this new moon is in a trine aspect to that South Node energy, it's basically saying if you get real and honest with yourself about what you need to let go of, you can absolutely start to really embody that North Node energy. Now, the new moon is also conjunct Saturn, as I said, so it is a dissociated conjunction because Saturn is currently still in the sign of Aquarius, all right? So that's a strong Saturn, but it's, for me, this is kind of giving the new moon the surety and the weight that it needs in order to manifest something. So it's kind of not just like this out there concept. It's something that we take and say, okay, you know what, this is what I really want to initiate. This is what I'm trying to manifest into the world. But what is it going to take? Where are the real practical steps and understandings coming in? The ability to reign in the dream is not strong yet because it hasn't crossed the barrier. So I actually feel like this Saturn is nicely supporting this new moon. Mercury is in a trine to Mars. So I like this because Mercury is in the modern sign of its rulership. So in modern astrology, Mercury is in the sign of Aquarius. Or should I say, in modern astrology, Mercury's exaltation sign is Aquarius, right? So it's a good Mercury. Mercury's in a good position. It's supported by Mars because it's in a trine aspect. Remember, trines are harmonious energies and easy. Mars is in the sign of Gemini. So that is, Mars is in Mercury's sign, right? So it's giving it good energy. It's also a Mars that is future orientated with a vision to follow and an ability to rise above the minutiae in order to gather some much needed focus and clarity. So I really like that. The Mars square to Uranus, okay, not so here for this one. I really feel like, because especially it's a dark moon, this could be some miscommunications via technology. This is one of those times where I would say as well, the day before, the day of, and the day after, probably not the best time to CC anybody into an email that you don't want them to see. Really, just, I also see, like, as well, if you're so inclined to delve into the crypto sphere, maybe, just maybe, this is a time to do so. Not as in right now, but certainly moving forward, especially as Daddy Jupiter comes into Taurus, right? So I'm really here for that movement, and when it happens, I will be here to talk about it as well. And then finally, there's a Venus in her sign of exaltation in Pisces, which is sextile to Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, right? So we're getting a really nice little boost of energy. Remember, Venus is doing good work in the sign of Pisces because that's where she's exalted. So she's really treated very well, and she's getting a really nice sextile energy from Pluto. So this is about releasing the hidden potential in whatever Venus is doing at the moment, or potentially offering us an opportunity. So this could be a breaking of a relationship, but it's amicable, right? But it's final in a sense. It could also be where you look, you know, for some people, where you look lovingly at your partner and kind of say to each other, you know what, it's done, but actually we're going to be okay and we can still be friends after this. It's also potentially to say as well, this could be big financial blessings that come from seemingly small things that are either put in place or taken away. So it's kind of like, you know how they say like the amoeba or the atom is like the thing that takes down. When you think about it, look at a virus, right? A virus is like, you can't even see it with the naked eye. But you get one little, you know, mofo germ that goes into this, all of this amazing, I mean, not just this, but, right, but all of this, we're all, look, there's a human machinery is just amazing, isn't it? And it only takes something really small to knock the whole thing out for a while. This could be like that. Because remember, Pluto is really small things as well, and it's that pure potential. So that Venus is actually offering some really nice stuff, I believe. And it's in an exact sextile as well. Venus at 29 degrees of Pisces, and Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn. And what I've put here as well is Venus is exalted in Pisces, which I've mentioned, but she's about to leave, and she's helping us ease the restrictions and the structures of a life well lived. Pluto is revealing the truth of such things and asking us to release them in love, so that the final blessings might be reached, accepted, and extracted. So when we're talking about a new moon, yes, this is a fresh start. It's a new beginning. And the way that I sort of really utilize lunar energy is I think about it in terms of a pregnancy, right? So the new moon is the conception point. It's where the sperm and the egg come together. Something is seeded in the cosmic womb, right up there. Something's going on through the energy, or through the guise, right? That energy is pouring down through the Pisces constellation. And so that's pouring over all of us down here on the earth, and it's seeding something in that space, not only within the world, but within your chart, within your body, within your mind, within your soul. Something new is being born and birthed right now. So there are so many ways that you can tap into this. Now, it is a dark moon. So if you're manifesting anything, the general rule of thumb happens to be, you set the intention with your mind, right? You raise up your energy, whether this is your kundalini, whether it's your auric field, whether it's your astral, mental projective energies. You focus and harness your energy, and you project it towards the thing that you want to manifest. But you wait until you see the first sliver of the crescent, right? Of the first crescent sliver of light, to take the real world, physical, tangible action steps in order to make this happen. All right. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a premise of where I'm going to be going with some of this. So for Aries, all right. So the chart should be coming up just about here. So this for you is happening in your 12th house, right? So, I also forgot to mention, let me just backtrack for a moment. So whenever I'm talking about astrology, I'm always talking about this from the perspective of your ascendant sign first, then your sun sign, and then your moon sign. Although if you are a nighttime chart person, meaning you were born at night, or you have a very strong moon in your chart, then you may also want to pay a lot of attention to whatever's happening with Lunar, because obviously that's really going to be affecting you. So you're, certainly your Cancerians among you as well, like definitely a thing. All right, so for Aries, I apologize. This new moon for you is happening in your 12th house, right? So there's a fated completion, culmination, ending coming up here. And the reason being, the 12th house isn't just your past and your privacy, it's also the house of completion. This is where things come to an end. It's, if the 8th house is the house of death, The 12th house would be the house of transcendence, right? Where that true transformation happens and the soul is released from the body. Doesn't mean that somebody's suddenly going to keel over. It doesn't mean that at all. This is a fresh start or a new beginning in your 12th house, right? So in a part of you that's actually very deep. So there is a fated communication, there is a fated completion coming in, because that new moon is trine to the south node in the sign of Scorpio, which means something is coming to an end here. Something is really ready to be released in order to kind of move ahead, right? It's clearing the grounds in a sense. It requires a bone deep honesty with self so that you can move forward, because as long as you're doing that, as long as you're really honest with yourself about what has run its course, you're going to start to naturally, by just by acknowledging and accepting that fact, you're clearing a path for something new to come in. Now that trine is happening between your 12th house of endings, culminations, completions, but also your deep sort of psychological self and your deep spiritual self, and your 8th house, because Scorpio, the south node is in Scorpio, that's your 8th house. So this could be a very deep new moon for you. It could be a very transformative new moon for you, but it may not necessarily be an easy one. So the new moon is conjunct Saturn. Remember, it's a dissociated conjunction. So this is happening in your 11th house and your 12th house. I like this for really gaining the strength and the wisdom that you need in order to build a dream, right? In order to really see something in the long run and kind of say, okay, that's what I want. That's where I want to go. And this is probably what it's going to take to get there. Now, it also suggests as well, there's only 2 weeks at this point, right, before Saturn moves into Pisces. So this is kind of like the clearing of the space before that happens. And for you, because it's in your true 12th house, Saturn in the 12th is exalted, right? When Saturn is in the 12th house, that's where it does some of its best work. So when Saturn comes into Pisces, this is actually going to be very good for you. Now, in terms of Mercury trining that Mars, so this is happening between your 11th house and your 3rd houses, right? And so this is, for the way I see this, is like you're developing new skills, right? Or certainly you get the impetus or the push from the outside world, maybe your job, maybe your locality, maybe your boss, maybe a sibling, maybe somebody said something to you and you think, you know what, yeah, actually I might need to up my game when it comes to my skills here. And the skills that you could be gaining at the moment might feed directly into a bigger or longer term higher vision that you have for your life moving forward. This could be a new website. It could be a new book. It could be some other form of media that you decide to sort of delve into. But it definitely feeds into your longer term plans. Now, in terms of Mercury squaring Uranus, this is happening between your 11th house and your 2nd house of money, finances, and resources. This could be where a future goal, hope, dream of some kind sets in, and it's like, okay, in order to do this, I'm going to have to really front the cash, and I don't know if I've got it at this moment in time. There might be a part of you, there may even be a consideration where you say to yourself, wow, I'm not going to be able to do this unless I can raise the capital. I'm not entirely sure that is true, and it may very well be that somebody steps in to help you, because you've got so much happening in that 11th house. The 11th house is benefactors. So you could have someone come in that says, look, you know what? Yes, I can absolutely front you the cash for it, but here's what I'm going to need from you in order to secure that, right? So you're going to have to look at the give and take about it and just be really honest with yourself. And then finally, the Venus sextile to Pluto between your 10th house and your 12th house. Old opportunities might come up. It could be an old dream or an old desire for your material or your financial world. So you might be really looking at things and saying, you know what, this is where I want to go, and this is how I want to kind of things to evolve for me. It might also be the end of a relationship for some of you. Could you try again? Mind your business, Siri. Sorry about that. It could also be the dividing of assets for some of you, very possible. Also a career opportunity that requires a lot of change. And you kind of, it's almost like you look at this and say, this is going to be amazing, but it's almost like you can't envision who you're going to be once you've experienced this, or once you've reached that kind of point. And the reason being, That sextile happening between the 12th and the 10th. The 10th is your house of career. It's your, how people see you. So it's not just, and I feel because the 12th is involved, it's not just about how others see you, it's also going to be about how you see yourself. This could be a really powerful moment for you. All right, so before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So for you, Aries, your card for the Pisces New Moon is, wow, look at that, the King of Pentacles. The reason I love this so much for you is because this is material financial blessings, right? So this is absolutely possible. It may come through another person though. Remember, the King of Pentacles is a Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo male usually, but can be any kind of person. This could be a benefactor that helps you on a material / them pentacles kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Another way that this might show up for you as well is the skills that you gain start to put you amongst not only peers and people that can really evolve you, but also you start to be seen as a specialist. Now, anything, remember with the 12th house as well, this could see you going that final mile. So I actually kind of really like that for you. All right, so for Taurus and Taurus ascendants, this new moon for you in the sign of Pisces is happening in your 11th house. This could bring new friends, new social groups, new connections. It could also bring in new benefactors, people that can help or assist you in some way. Also, what I really like about this is the ability to, remember Pisces, right? It's that ability to dream, to intuit, to think of and envision something higher, bigger or broader for your life. Now, because it's happening in that 11th house, remember, so the quote says, a mind that's stretched by new experiences can never go back to the way that it was. This is very true, and this new moon is giving you the ability to do that. So the new moon trine the south node is happening between your 11th house and your 7th house. So you and a partner or a collaborator could suddenly decide to dream big together. And it's kind of like you say, you know what, we want to go after this shared future, but in order to do this, this is what I'm going to have to let go of. So this could be an old burden, an old grudge, burying a hatchet, because remember, it's still with the south node. So you have to be really honest and say, okay, we want this is what we envision for ourselves, but this is what I'm going to have to release in order to make that a possibility. All right, so this is a moment of honesty with a partner for sure. It also suggests as well, it's a shared vision that comes together, and no matter the size of it, it's the fact that you're in it together that's really going to count here. All right, so it's kind of like an us against the world kind of thing. So for the new moon conjunct the dissociated Saturn, this is happening between your 11th and 10th houses. So your career definitely comes into question. You might start to think about how it expands, how it grows, what it provides you on a practical level, right? This could also be a reality check when it comes to your career, where you kind of say to yourself, okay, yes, the vision is big, and in order to fulfill that, this is what I'm going to need to do. I need to get my proverbial together. I would say I'm going to try and swear less this year, but we just know it's not going to happen, all right? I'm a potty mouth. Please, find a way to deal. All right, nothing wrong with that. Do you the way that you normally do. Now, in terms of the Mercury trine the Mars, this is happening between your 10th house and your 2nd house of money. Money could be getting a big welcome boost here, right? Remember, Mercury rules money. It's, well, maybe not money itself, but definitely the transactional nature of things. That's Mercury stuff. The 2nd house, that's where the Mars energy is in the sign of Gemini. And so this is all to do with your resources. And because it's in Gemini, maybe the skills that you have that you haven't used in a while can kind of really, maybe now you kind of say, you know what, this thing is actually sitting on the shelf and it's not making me any money. How can I repurpose it? It might be a welcome cash boost, but it'll also be a sleeves up, hands-on energy. It's not going to be something that comes just for nothing. All right, you are going to have to to kind of deliver on this. And for some of you, I've put here as well, like you might really need to be focused and possibly even pull in a couple of all-nighters in order to really deliver on something. So you could get an opportunity that comes in either through work, through your business, whatever your situation is, but it's like, oh shit, you know, in order to get this, so you see, right, but and in order to make this happen, I'm going to have to really show up here. Mercury square Uranus in the 10th and 1st houses. So your career, your money and your mind are all working together in this square. So this part of it could be a lot, right? So remember, Uranus is in your sign. We've still got another 2.5, 3 years to go for that. So it's not going anywhere. At this point though, you're kind of used to it, right? There is kind of a barrier here as well. So your vision or your self-image is one that you kind of no longer resonate with or you really want to change. And so what you're sort of having to deal with here is you're having to really face the truth of who you see yourself to be and how you want to be seen, right? And because Mercury is also the ruler of your 5th house of pleasure, romance, and joy, the question really becomes, does it lie somewhere else, right? Do I need to be honest with, you know, like how invested am I in the job, the work, the career, etc.? And where is it that maybe there is something better that is right in front of you that just needs a little bit more life and a little bit more love to deliver what you need? And yeah, I put here that only you can answer that. And that's the truth of it, right? No astrologer, numerologist, whatever. We can't tell you what you think about things. We can only tell you the energies, trends, themes, and the tide of energy that's available to you. Pay attention to that phrase because you're going to be hearing it a lot in a lot of my work moving forward. So Venus, finally, your ruling planet, darling, is sextile to Pluto. So this is happening between your 11th and your 9th houses. I actually really like this because Venus, your ruling planet, is in the sign of her exaltation. It's getting a really nice element from Pluto. And so it kind of means that I feel like this one's going to express for you guys quite quickly. And it's probably going to come up in your work. This could be an international connection that comes in. It might be an investment that you've already made. It could be travel plans for some of you that you've already set into motion. It might be a friendship or a business connection that opens up possibilities that you hadn't even considered. I really like this as well for a change in your financial affairs. It could be a bonus, it could be a blessing. It might also come in the form of like a once in a lifetime thing, right? And, you know, I don't say that lightly. If you've been with me long enough, I kind of refrain from, oh, you know, yes, everything happening all the time, all the things, you know, it's just, what's the point? I like this for realizations of how much more there is out there for you, whether this is mentor, people, you know, all the things. And there's also people whose opinions you really value might come in and they might be really intense to hear, right? So maybe a friend or a mentor or a coach of some sort says something to you and you think, oh, you know, that one really smarts. You know, I felt that. It's not, it's cutting close to the bone. Remember, this is Pluto after all, right? It's cutting close to the bone because it's supposed to change you. Pluto is transformation. It's meant to change something in the way that you envision things for your future. And that's why it's going to be, you know, potentially a little bit painful, but it will be like a sweet pain. You know, when you've got a knot in your back and the massage therapist gets right into it and you're like, oh, it's like kind of like I hate it, but at the same time I love it and I need it and it's ugh. Right? This could very much be that. Your card is the Knight of Pentacles. Are you ready to work hard? Are you ready to do the damn thing? Are you ready to get stuck in? Because that Knight of Pentacles basically says whatever's being initiated by this new moon for you, it really is for the future. It really is for the long haul, which is so interesting because your new moon, the new moon for you is in the 11th house. The 11th house is the future. It's your higher goals or the things that come next. And the Knight of Pentacles, this is about what you can see in the distance. It's very rarely a card that brings anything quickly or in the here and now. All right, so set yourself up right. For Gemini, This new moon for you is happening in your career house, your 10th house of public standing, social status. This is about having or being ready for new magic when it comes to your career. This is you also getting ready to envision something different, or something that your soul is telling you or reminding you that you actually want for yourself. So I love this. A fresh start in the career is totally possible right now. If you decide to move on it, right? So like anything, whatever's available to us, you know, even if it's the best transits in the world, if you're sat on the couch doing nothing with it, it ain't gonna work, all right? You gotta work it in order to get the juice. Excuse me, sorry, that's a lot of talking. All right, so it's also in the dreamy Pisces, so you must be able to see it in your mind before you'll be able to build it, right? And this goes for all the signs, really. I should have said this in the overview. If you can't envision it in here, it's not going to show up out there, all right? So do it in here first, build that construct, and then call on that universal energy to fill that mental construct, and then the universe does the rest. It's just marvelous. It's like, you know, I don't really like the idea behind cosmic ordering, but if there were a process that it happened by, I would imagine it was something like that. So the new moon, that was the new moon. Sorry, I mentioned trying to the south node there as well. So the new moon conjunct Saturn, which is a dissociated conjunction, remember. Saturn is in your 9th house. It's giving you a grounded sort of practicality, the practicality that you need in order to build your dreams, right? The new moon is gaining a steadying force with this conjunction. So Saturn is ruler of your 8th and your 9th houses. It's been quite strong for the last 5 years at this point. Like, and you know what? I myself, even as an Aquarius, I'm so getting over it at this point. But I really feel like this could be a deeply held fear, could literally be washed away right now, especially if you're honest with yourself about what that requires. So this could be a moment where you say, okay, you know what? I want to go for gold. I want to go for broke. I want to hit the big time. I want to do this, this, and this, or whatever it might be. It's like the thing that it's going to require is a bone deep honesty about what it is you're afraid of, and more importantly, why. Mercury in that trine to, so this is Mercury, your ruling planet, in the trine to Mars. It is providing you a strength of will here. That's the feeling that I got from this when I was looking at it. And it kind of gives you the courage to dream big, but to set to work quickly in order to get things moving. It also gives you a the sound mind that you need to make a plan for success. So this is not kind of Gemini doing a million different things at a minute and and all of this. This is you creating a solid action plan and saying, okay, you know what? A plus B does equal C, and this is what I'm going to be working on. It might also be that you have an element of annoyance, though, that kind of does need to be dealt with. So just, you know, be really honest about what that might be. The Mercury square to Uranus, this is happening for you. It's 12th house, 9th house stuff. So there is a potential shock from the past that comes in and disrupts things for you, potentially puts some plan on maybe not even on hold. It might be that a plan is expedited in some way, shape or form, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, well, you know, I don't really know what to do with that. It just happens so quickly. It might also be a deeply held belief, because remember the 9th house is your spiritual beliefs, your deep wisdom and philosophical mind. That's 9th house stuff. So this could be you releasing an old belief and kind of realizing, well, shit, that's turned into a limiting belief. And in order to really have what I want, I have to be free and clear of that, right? If your energy and your deep self is saying, I don't deserve money, and every time I get it, something comes up in order to take it away from me, it don't matter how much you're sitting there going, yes, lots of money is coming to me, because what's going to happen, that money is going to follow the path of your energy. It's going to follow the path of your subconscious, which says, I don't deserve it, will you fill in the blanks, right? There's going to be a lot more talks about this stuff moving forward. I'm really passionate about energy work, and the more I'm doing the work that I'm doing, I don't just want to read for people anymore. I actually really want to help them smash through the fucking shit that's standing in front of all of the things that they deserve. All right, so that's where all of my work is going. Now, Venus in a sextile to Pluto, ruler of your 12th and 5th houses. So Venus is at that 29th degree of Pisces. And Pluto is at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So this one, I feel, for everybody is going to express quite quickly. I think it's going to be quite sort of, it's not just going to be like on the day. It will be a theme that kind of almost explodes over a week, I reckon. This could highlight some money-making enterprise or idea. Pluto is the transformation, and this can be a phoenix rising from the ashes moment that sets into motion on this new moon, right? So it could stir some very deep desires for you. It might really bring a new charged energy in, sexual potency, desire, intimacy, unlike anything else that you've ever felt could come from this. And it could be as well that you meet somebody through work or through a friendship, or even just like in a place or a space where you're just having a lot of fun. And that's the thing, like, I don't know if you've ever had this. I've had this happen to me where, like, maybe you saw someone and you think, yeah, you know, you're all right. But then when you see them smile and laugh, you're just like, right? Like, it brings something out of them. So, you know, watch out for whoever makes you giggle this week. Your card for this is the Two of Swords. Are you ready to delve deep into your mind and your psyche? If you can be really honest with yourself, some big changes can happen. Now, in terms of this card, this is a very psychic card. It's a very intuitive faculty, energy. And so what this tells me is the intuitive nudges and hunches that you have around your career the day before, the day of, and the day after the new moon can be some really amazing insights, providing you're willing to listen to them. All right, so for Cancer, my lunar brothers and sisters, you guys know I love you. Can you see that properly? Yeah, you can. All right, so for you guys, this is happening in your 9th house, right? The 9th house is, in old astrology, they called it the house of God. I like to see this as your connection to the universe. The 9th house is where you find your belief structure, what you really believe on that philosophical, sort of spiritual, even religious kind of level. What are your beliefs? This is also a visionary and intuitive space as well. It's a place of vision and forward momentum and forward thinking, right? It looks toward the 10th house. And for that reason, this is kind of where we get some really amazing insights. It's the house of higher learning and education. Some of you might decide, you know what? I think I'm ready to go back to school. I think I'm ready to finish my degree. I think I'm ready to gain a new course or skill or something. For some of you as well, I wonder if this is that you decide to finish your training. I'm a bit naughty in that way. I'm a life path 1. Finishing things has never come easy to me, right? As I've grown into myself and, you know, as a man and as a human and as a mind and a soul, I've become a lot better at it. This last 5-6 years, like, people that have known me a long time are like, dude, like, oh, you know, like, just to see this side of you is amazing. And it's come over time. You know, it's not something that I naturally had a lot of. For me, because I'm, as many of you know, this is my moon sign. This might manifest as, you know what, I think I'm ready to finish certain parts of my training. This would be, you know, not obviously in the fields that I work in. I'm qualified, if that counts. But there are some other things, like on a personal level, that I feel like I'm ready to complete my training on now. So it also is a moment in time that allows you to tap into or get to the heart of what you believe. You're a natural intuitive and psychic. The moon is your ruling luminary. So Luna is your, you know, the new moon is always going to affect you powerfully because it is your planet, right? It's a luminary. So your new moon is trine to the south node in Scorpio. And for you, Scorpio represents your fifth house, right? Of pleasure, joy, romance. It's also a space of deep, or should I say, true, honest, authentic self expression. So it might provide you with the depth of honesty you need to bring romance into the everyday by getting rid of the fear of looking stupid. Like, I am a hopeless romantic. I will sit and watch the rom-com and I will get teary-eyed when, you know, it all goes right. Yes, it's a movie, but I'm not afraid or ashamed to display my emotions and to feel them deeply. It's one of the things that I actually think comes from my Cancer moon. And I'm very proud of that. But this could be a time where, you know, like when you see kids, they don't give a shit how they're dressed, what they look like, what anybody else thinks. If they love it or they're excited by it, they live that truthfully and fully. This new moon could really show you or highlight to you where you're ready to do more of that. So I really love this. And then I've put here as well, the release of some kind of creative potential or self-expression could feel very freeing. Images of Cancers all running down the street half naked. So I'm going to look out for this. If there's naked people out on the street around this time, I'm going to be like, they're Cancers. New moon conjunct Saturn is the dissociated one, right? So Saturn is still in the sign of Aquarius. So while it is an orb conjunction, they are in different signs. So Saturn is ruling your 8th and your 7th houses in Aquarius, right? So it's challenged your earning potential or a partner's monies over the last 5 years, potentially. It's now gearing up to come into your 9th house, and it's bringing a deep wisdom and spirituality. So you can be happy. It's a steadying force to this new moon. It might also have an element of rewards for efforts sown. So whatever you've already done, this may be a time where you can collect on it. Mercury trine Mars, the ruler of your 12th and the 4th. So this could be a reunion in the familial sense. I really love this for reconnecting with siblings, especially if you've had challenges or issues with them. It could be opening up a dialogue. It might even be people that you've had problems with, whether this is, for some of you, it could be neighbours. But I really feel like this will be like a family member. So this could be the burying of a hatchet, the release of some kind of, you know, challenge or issue in that sphere. Mercury square to Uranus. Okay, so Uranus is known as the higher octave of Mercury, right? So it could bring issues with friends to the forefront. It might also see some, you know, potentially tense conversations. I would advise against mixing money and friendship right now. I really would around this new moon, because there is a potential for some kind of deception. Just be mindful of that. Or it could be a hard conversation that's had around money. Maybe, you know, you call a friend out and say, why is it every time we go out for drinks and dinner, you've never got your wallet? Or, you know, you always order the most expensive thing on the menu, but you expect us to split the bill. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could be one of those conversations. I hope it's not for you, but possible. Be prepared to have some interesting developments, especially when it comes from, I like this for like a benefactor, a coach, a mentor of some sort, like really giving you a push in some regard, especially if you've got a home-based business. Venus sextile to Pluto. Venus is the ruler of your 11th and your 4th, so she's bringing you, she's bringing comfort, she's bringing ease. In a trine to Pluto, or sextile to Pluto, sorry, she's bringing an amplification of the presence of friends in the home. So I wonder if this is a friend has a crisis of some sort and ends up staying on the couch. You know, like, and Cancers have an open door policy anyway, so it kind of rings true. So be mindful of that. I will say as well, a get together. If you're planning a get together, this could be that. And then for some of you, this could be a reinvention of how you present yourself on social media. Maybe you're doing a complete revamp. Maybe you're changing your services, all of the rest of it. So yes, I got in early, but I had it on the authority of a very good friend and wonderful astrologer, Heather, who said that, you know, the time that I picked was a good time. So that we settled on that. For those of you that don't know, Heather is an amazing astrologer that I've worked with for, gosh, it's got to be coming up to 3 years now. which is insane. No, it's got to be longer than that. I think it might be yeah, but it's like between 3 and 5 years at this point. But yeah, she's brilliant, so go check her out. Your tarot card for this new moon is the number 4 of Pentacles. So this is a card of grounding and stability, but it's also a card of stagnation, right? So this does suggest to me that some of you may be a bit stuck in your ways, and this new moon is going to really give you the spiritual and belief structure lubricant that you need in order to free up some much needed pent up energy. The other thing with the 4 of Pentacles as well, remember, this kind of, when this card shows up, I often say to people, what are you holding in your body that you haven't yet released, right? And so I wonder if maybe some of your belief structure is actually rooted in your physical self. Pay attention to that over the course of this new moon. All right, so for the Leos, my ascendant brothers and sisters, forgive me. So this for you is in your sector of power, other people's money and resources. It's in the space of debts as well. The 8th house new moon. This could see you getting really serious about how you pull money in from the world, right? So if you've got your own business, if you work for yourself, if you work from home, if you've got clients, if you've got products that you sell, this new moon could really help enhance your earning potential. It may also set something new into motion. Remember, because Saturn's going to come into Pisces on March 7th. So it could see you getting really honest with yourself about what you need in order to start really pulling money in. It might initiate some kind of deep healing that happens around fears or wounds, fears that have been left behind from hard experiences. So the 8th house is like, the 4th house is like your deep emotional makeup, whereas the 8th house is your deep psychological makeup. It's the real reason that you do shit, all right? Like, that's what you find in the 8th house. It's the reason, it's your deeper drives and motivations, right? And sometimes those come from a place of love and healing, and sometimes they come from a place of trauma. And this could highlight to you which is which. It also, if you're wanting to get a mortgage or something like that, this could be exactly what you need. It might show you what you need in order to have that happen for you. The rulers of your 12th and 1st house respectively are coming together in a magnetic and powerful place of your chart. Use it wisely, dare to dream big. Ruler of your 1st house, that's the sun, right, is your ruling planet. Ruler of your 12th house, the moon, are coming together in your 8th house. So that's a lot of power, really. You know, it really is. It's going to make you very magnetic at this time. Find a way to tap into that. So the new moon trine to the south node in the sign of Scorpio, so that's in your 4th house. This could be releasing issues around home, property, family, some deeply held belief that was kind of instilled in you, maybe some old wound or hurt that the family has given you or left a mark with. This could see you kind of saying, okay, you know what, yeah, I need to rid myself of that so that I can move forward from here. I'm going to talk about something here. So for those of you that are in said situation, this could be where you release homelessness. Right now, I don't know about anybody else. If you've ever been homeless, I can tell you it's the scariest fucking thing you will ever experience in your life. You know, it's just a really hard experience, and I will say, don't ever be ashamed of it, right? Don't ever be ashamed to say, I'm really not. It was a very hard experience, and it was very scary, and I'm glad I had it because it made me everything that I am today, among a whole load of other really awful, painful shit too. But hey ho, life is life, right? So the new moon conjunct the dissociated Saturn. So this is Saturn has been moving through your 6th and 7th houses. So it's done a lot of work on your physical body, how you really look after yourself, and it's now going to start to do some stuff in your relationships, right? Forgive me. It's already been doing stuff in your relationship house because it's been in the 7th house. So this is a lot of Saturn for the last 5 years. Saturn's been very strong in the sky, so we've all been kind of going through it. He's really been drilling down on you, making you get really serious about your relationships, maybe getting honest about what your desires actually are. It's also really helping you as well, I feel, to get really clear on releasing your fears, but also to crystallize the kind of working and relationship and love connections that you want in your life. So this is you getting really honest with yourself effectively about what you want in love, what you want from a partner, what you need on an intimate level, so your sex life, whether it has or hasn't been, what you would like it to be. This is a time to get serious. It might also show you what you're willing to do, what or who you are willing to do the long haul with, and how to, and it might even reveal to you who the lucky person is, possible. Mercury trine to Mars. So the 2nd and 11th houses are obviously being pulled in here because that's the houses that Mercury rules for you. Now, it's in a trine to Mars, which with your the ruler of your 9th house. I really like this for residency if your work permits or calls for it. So if your work is something you can pick up and go anywhere in the world in, I actually really like this happening for some of you. The visa that you need possibly comes in. It's also maybe getting the information that you need in order to fill the forms in on a more sort of mundane level. I really like this for the opportunity to travel or live abroad. For some of you as well, I wonder if this might be some kind of contract negotiation that is already underway. And if there are finances involved, this could be expansion in a way that you either don't expect, or there's growth here that you kind of don't really know how to handle, right? So it's kind of like, okay, this is better than I expected, not sure what to do with it, but yay. Mercury square to Uranus, so your 10th and 7th houses. Ooh. Sorry, let me just end that. So that's not distracting. Silence you. All right, so Mercury square, this 10th house, 7th house thing, this is your relationship kind of facing off with the career. All right, so it could be that a contract or even something that you do or offer gains some kind of backlash. All right, very possible. I also like this for viral stuff that comes very unexpectedly or at an inopportune moment. So this would be like, I'm currently being sued, but a celebrity just shouted out my business. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not being sued. Oh my gosh. Right, so it's kind of like, it could be one of those really juxtaposed moments. A chance to make more money or bring in resources in a wacky way might show up for you at this time, and it might come through a partnership, a collaboration, or a connection that you've already got in your world. Finally, Venus sextile to Pluto, connecting in your 6th and 8th houses. So Venus is the ruler of your career and your daily grind and commute. Pluto ruling your home, family, and property. It could be a transformation or a healing that happens after a long, hard talk with a sibling, with a female or a woman in your life. Like maybe there's been a really hard thing going on between you and somebody that you love, but maybe you haven't seen eye to eye, and this could be the healing of that. It's going to come with some very frank conversation, and it might come with some, some stuff that maybe you really don't expect to hear. Remember, this is Pluto we're talking about. So if you can find an hour to rest and really be in your body on the day of the new moon, I would absolutely advise that you do so. I really like this connection as well for a cash boost. In a way that kind of just happens. It's like maybe somebody says to you, look, I'm giving you this, but I don't want you to tell anybody, or I'm doing this for you, but this is a you and me thing. I don't want anybody else involved. Could be some kind of healing around your sex life, very possible. Saturn's going to be purifying the 8th house for you and revealing to you where your sexuality needs work or commitment. And then finally, the 6th obviously being a house of drudgery and all the rest of it, and the 8th house of loans, taxes, bills, debts, etc. for some of you, this could be where, you know, when you think maybe like, oh, you know, the state of the world, I'm never going to get a mortgage, I can't do this on my own. It's kind of like some grace shows up for you now and offers you almost what you need at the right moment. And you're kind of like perplexed as to, okay, how did this happen? Interestingly enough as well, you'll understand, so this could be a change of status. So change of status is the 10th house. All right, and the hard work and the commitment, that's the 6th house, and the debt cycle, that's the 8th. So this is kind of something being initiated in your world at that point around like a long-term debt, and that usually tends to be things like a mortgage, or maybe you buy like a really nice new car, or maybe you lease a building for your business, whatever it might be. So for you guys, you have the 10 of Wands. So this is the release of burdens, which is beautiful, but it could also be that you're picking something up from one space and moving it to another. So for some of you, like I was saying about travel or changing home or location, etc., very possible. I hope not for me, because I don't know if I've got another move in me, to be honest, really not at this point. I might end up going crazy. Another way that this 10 of Wands can also work as well, this might be where you realise or get really honest with yourself about how much you've let other people's, not rob your power, but how much you've let other people's thoughts, beliefs, ideas shape or hone your decisions. And it's kind of like where you say, okay, you know what, I'm not going to be talked at anymore. I'm going to, you know, use my power and my personal agency to do what it is that I want to do for myself and my life. All right, so for Virgo, sorry, get some more water. Can you believe I broke my water bottle? I was so gutted. I love this bottle. All right, so for Virgo, this is happening for you in your 7th house of relationships. Partnerships are definitely coming into focus from here on in. It might be that they take on a new importance as well. Remember, the new moon is a fresh start, but your 7th house isn't just your marriage, it's also the relationship that you have with your closest friends. It's the relationship that you have with your astrologer or tarot reader. It's the relationship that you have with your competitors. All right, so I really like this for getting into a stable relationship, whether that's personal, professional, or platonic. Okay, and I like it because it's in a really grounded kind of way. Now, trine to the South Node, that's in your 3rd house, right? And so this is a negotiation that you're ready to let go of. It might be a decision that is reached that's kind of good for everybody. So something in that sort of space is maybe coming to an end. It will feel like a tie that binds is being cut. As it's a trine, it's an easy release and it's an easy to let go of. And it's kind of in a way that makes everybody feel safe. So it's like, yeah, you know what, I think this has kind of seen its course. You know, you go your way, I go mine, we'll keep in touch. New moon conjunct a dissociated Saturn. So Saturn in your 6th house. Saturn is edifying you on what you have learned and helping you solidify that knowledge. So whatever you've learned about health, healing, your physical body, whatever you've gained, in understanding where to apply that, because you guys are hard workers, everybody knows it, right? And if you don't know anything about the zodiac, you know, everyone talks about Capricorn and Libra, and they are really hardworking signs. But Virgo is a grafter, all right? Like, they really are. Remember, the 6th is also about your physical health and vitality. So this is a deeply refreshed sense of purpose around your physical health and vitality. The new moon in the 7th, that's your doctor, your astrologer, etc. And they are bringing a sort of steadying influence to that new moon. So it's kind of like Saturn is really solidifying the last bit of work that you have to do on your physical health maintenance, which I actually really like. So Mercury, your ruling planet, is trying to Mars in your sibling sign of Gemini. As ruler of your 8th and 3rd houses, this could be you streamlining a process of some sort when it comes to your work, especially around, like, if you make money from other people. So let's say you've got your own business. This could be your payment system, right? Maybe you get a new payment gateway. Maybe you decide to streamline the process of people booking from you, but it's how they pay you that is going to be the important part. Dealing with paperwork and documents or legislation around funding or finances of a larger nature, definitely possible. Jupiter in this house is providing work, is providing the oomph that you need to push ahead with career goals or desires. I like that. So Mercury, again, your ruling planet, square to Uranus, right? So Uranus in the ninth. Is shaking up your learning zone for a while. So this might have been like, maybe you guys have been on a crash course of everything and anything that you can get in your brain that you can fit in, how you guys do it amongst everything else that you've got going on. I always kind of look at Virgos and I'm like, how much do you know? Like, where does it go? Which, you know, is interesting because I've had people say that to me, and in my progress chart, I am a Virgo ascendant. So I'm not sure I'm quite at Virgo status just yet, but who knows, maybe one day. It could also be a legal matter that takes a sharp turn that you're kind of not expecting. And I would give yourself some leeway when it comes to learning or teaching, especially something that has like a time sensitive nature to it. Or either that, or there's something that there's a deadline attached to it, right? Mercury's in Aquarius, so it could be a technological aspect as well. Maybe you're maybe you're fusing technology and finances or resources. So again, that payment gateway kind of energy comes in. Also potential that there's a delay or a relocation in funds or money making its way to you. Venus sextile to Pluto. So Venus in your 7th house is going to be softening and smoothing the edges around relationships, making things more diplomatic. Maybe you're looking at your partner with renewed, refreshed eyes like, damn, you're sexy. Right? Like there's that sense of renewal there. And Venus is the ruler of your 2nd house of money, finances and resources, and your 9th house. So in that connection to Pluto in the 5th, it might be, this is one of the few times I will ever say this. This may be a really good time to mix business and pleasure. So if you're married, maybe you and your partner decide to host a webinar together. Maybe you and your partner decide to, set up a shop together. Like there's something here where you're mixing your money and your intimate connection, and it just makes things better, which is really nice. And then finally, I've got, I also like this for the hidden potential monies in a creative or educational field, finally starting to make their presence known. So for this, you have the Emperor. So the Emperor literally represents institutions, right? So the Hierophant is like establishments, your big corporate structures, whereas the Emperor, this is like schools, colleges, it can be hospitals, etc. Those kinds of things. And the Emperor can represent some of those institutions that you need to interact with. And for some of you, I really feel like this is the case. So whoever or whatever the Emperor represents for you, they really are working in your favor. It's maybe not necessarily that they take a shine to you, but there's definitely a feeling of what you need is available to you. And because it is the Emperor, this also suggests that the learning or the learning or the knowledge that you're acquiring really kind of appeals to somebody that is observing you. So this is one of those times around this new moon, be mindful that like maybe somebody is watching, maybe a boss or a superior or maybe a benefactor of some sort is waiting in the wings to say, okay, I want to see what you're all about before I sort of come forward and start sort of saying, yeah, we can do this and this for you. But either way, I kind of like it. So for Libra, let me just grab some more water. This for you is happening in your 6th house of health. And remember, the 6th house is a maintenance house. It's how you look after yourself and your world on a day-to-day basis. It's having to, muck out the gutters so that they don't, overspill water all over the place. It's having to clean your shoes so that you don't look like a tramp when you go out. It's all of those kinds of things. Now, it is also your physical health and vitality. I really like this one, especially because the new moon is trine to the south node in your 12th house. I love this for the breaking of a bad habit. And it's kind of like now, when you do it now, that's it. It's like, yeah, you know what? I woke up the day of, or the day before, the day of, the day after the new moon and said I'm going to quit smoking, and it happens. It's like you say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to leave this abusive relationship, and you do. Like, whereas before it's like you couldn't because of the heartbreak or something always brought you back in, and it's like this time you're like, no, fuck that, I'm out. Like, you are so sure and secure in whatever bad habit or cycle you're breaking with this new moon that I love it. This could see you, as well. For some of you, this could be the end of a karmic or physical trauma, or the release or healing of some kind of PTSD. And again, I don't say that lightly. And it's not going to be overnight. You're not just going to wake up and say like, oh yeah, that's it. I'm totally cured. It's more a case of like you wake up with that resolve, and then from here on in, you start to really release it, and you're able to kind of do it, and it's easier than it's ever been before. In the conjunction to Saturn, you have, so Saturn in the 5th, right? It's not easy. It's like all of your fun and enjoyment, yeah, we're going to span that out. It might also see you rediscover what it means to express yourself and be authentically you. This will have seen you getting really serious. Maybe some of you got really serious about having more fun and enjoyment. Maybe you got more serious about sharing about who you are and what you believe, and to hell with everybody else that doesn't buy into it. The new moon in the 6th, the boost is giving you the boost that you need to put new habits, new routines, new commitments into place. And I love this for you because it's like you're doing more of what you want to do on your own terms. Mercury trine to Mars, ruler of your 12th and the 9th, has probably been giving you a desire to learn and travel and grow more. Might also give you the desire to do these things with a partner. I really like this for you, and the reason I would say that is because it's highlighting financial opportunity for you or your partner, or both of you. And so it's like, if you can plan or create a pathway for you and your partner to travel more and offers you some kind of freedom, get planning those trips. All right. Mercury square to Uranus, and this I think is going to see you chatty. I think it's going to be more flirty. It might be that somebody accuses you of not being serious enough. Uranus in your 8th house, don't be surprised if financially it's a feeling of easy come, easy go. So there could be an influx of money and you're like, yes, excellent. And then you buy all the things that you want or need, which there's nothing wrong with that. And then you're kind of like, oh, okay, shit. So it's kind of like it comes in, but it kind of goes out as well. I will say, that's not to say that your money is leaving. It's just that it is there to spend, right? Which, hey, listen, don't knock it. It could also be that you and a partner are spending on experiences, but more than expected. Be careful of mixing finances with somebody new. If it's somebody completely new, I don't like this for that. If this is a partner that's already in your world, everything's established and it's good, I really like this for you guys. Venus, sextile to Pluto. Between your 6th and your 4th houses, so home improvements, home transformations. This could be painting, decorating. I really love this for some kind of healing or soothing that happens within the family, especially something deep and old that was broken could really be readdressed here. If that is happening, it's going to be through a set of new outlines and guidelines, where you're very much kind of saying, look, if we're going to do this and we're going to interact, or we're going to do this in a new way, this is actually what it needs to look like, right? There's a moment of pure sort of deep honesty, but I love it because it's like through the sheer effort of wanting to try, something heals. And I'm all for that. I like this for getting your sleeves up and getting stuck in, painting, decorating, making a house a home, baby. I'm all for that. I'm so jelly. All right, whether this is to sell or to keep, it really doesn't matter, to be honest. What matters is that something is being transformed in the process. And it's kind of like, how they say in alchemy, through the process of watching the processes happen, something internal happens to the alchemist as well. And I really feel like this is like if you're repainting, redecorating, changing something about a house where you live, etc. It's like by doing that, you're not just putting a fresh coat of paint on it, you're healing something inside yourself and your connections at the same time. I just love it. For this, you've got the Three of Wands. Opportunities and luck abound for you, especially if you're willing to look outside of what you know, especially if you're willing to travel and to go further afield, right? That totally backs up the astrology. I'm so here for it. I really like this as well, for you seeing opportunities in things that kind of carry a little bit of risk. I'm not talking about putting it all on the line and, going to the roulette table and putting the house, the wife and the dog on there. I'm talking... do you know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about really kind of saying this is a calculated risk. And I know that if I go for it and I work really hard, the rewards could actually be solid. For Scorpio, this for you guys is happening in your 5th house of pleasure, joy, romance, sex. And it's not like, the 8th house of Scorpio, that's like sex, like where it's about procreation and tantra and, all of that. Whereas 5th house sex is more like, oh my gosh, this is nice. Let's be a bit naughty. Do you know what I mean? It's the playful kind of energy. If you're so inclined, this could be really nice. Like, it's a dreamy new moon. It takes a bit, because it's going to bring a bit more of a severity through that Saturnian connection. But I actually really like this about you and a partner, if you've got one, being more committed to expressing your pleasure and your joy and your sexuality and sensuality together. If you're single, absolutely be open to the possibilities. If none of that interests you, this could be a personal project of some sort that you get really fired up about. This could be a project that feels like your baby or your brainchild. Remember, this is the house of children as well. So if you've got children, this is a great time to spend time with them doing things that are arty and creative and fun and joyous. And things that are silly just for the sake of being silly. Like, let go of your serious this month, Scorpio. Like, not this month, around this new moon, right? Make a new intention to enjoy life more. In the trine to the South Node, this new moon offers a release of projects, right? So maybe not directly at the new moon. Remember what I said, you want to envision what it is that you want for the future. You get really serious, really deep, and you're a magnetic sign, right? You're ruled by Pluto, you're ruled by Mars, so you have that ability to attract and deeply draw to you what it is that you desire. So really, around that new moon, go in deep, right? Ask yourself, what do I want to manifest into my reality? Once you've got that energy, when that first crescent of the moon shows up, that's when you take the action steps towards it. Excuse me. So I've put here as well, this could be something is finally finished and now comes out into the world. Because it's you, it might kind of feel like it's underdressed or it's undone, but don't delay, right? Don't hold back, like this is the time. What I've also put here for you as well is the South Node is in your 1st house. So this could be about releasing something that has held you back from being or expressing your most authentic self. So this, I think, is going to be you getting really honest and saying, well, yeah, I've been a bit self-conscious. Maybe I've gained some, we've all got the COVID pouch. Good Lord, I don't even want to get into it. Right? Like, whatever it is, there's something here where you're being really honest with yourself and saying, you know what, this actually has held me back, but I am ready to do something about it now. And the thing that you need to do is just be yourself. That's it, literally, like the easiest thing in the world. Here's so many people out there like, what the fuck did he just say? Within reason, I get it, all right? So, conjunct Saturn in a dissociated energy, this is, Saturn is in your 4th house at this point, right? Of home, family, property, etc. I really like this for your people, the people that you love and care for, really cheering you on. especially like for those of you that want babies, this is a good time to get busy making them. It could also be a really nice time to initiate the best creative self-expression that you've done in a long time. Experiment, play, dream, break out the colors, spend time with other people's children, right? If your siblings hit you up and say, look, can you babysit? Do it. You'll not only have a marvelous time, but you might gain some really deep insight from time spent in those kind of situations. Mercury trine Mars, the ruler of your 12th and 8th houses in the 4th house of home, family, and property. This could be news that comes from the family about a past issue, or potentially, I hope I'm wrong, a passing. It might be where you hear about what you've been left in a will or as an inheritance. I wouldn't be surprised as well, because Mars is your ancient ruling planet. If this heightens your awareness of your personal power and sees you getting proactive about releasing a connection of sorts. So this could be maybe a past life connection, maybe a cord cutting of some sort, but it's not even necessarily that you're doing this on a physical level. It might just be something that plays out in the mind or in the spirit, and it's kind of like you feel like something's being cut or released, right? The other thing that I put here as well, it might be a connection that was built on trauma or debt, or you owe me, and so, I remember what you did, like all of that shit. This could be you releasing something like that on your end and just kind of being like, yeah, okay, that's done now. It's happening in a harmonious way, though, because it is a trine after all. Also, the thing that I'd written here, I wouldn't be surprised if this part of this aspect shows up as a subpoena for somebody out in, when we see on the news, I feel like we're going to hear about like somebody has been called to give witness, or all of that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. That came to me intuitively more than anything else. Like when it come up, I was like, really? And they were like, yep, this is what we're giving you, get to it. And then finally, for Mercury square Uranus, a home-based business technology that you use might get a little bit icky. It's also as well a connection that gets a spotlight or that feels uncomfortable. So I'm feeling this as like, uncomfortable things about an ex's marriage that everybody ignores post. Do you know what I mean? Like when you see like that kind of stuff, it's like, ooh, like you're intrigued but then you're like, this is trash. Why am I, I'm just not going to do it. You owe no explanations to anybody about your business, about your past, about your heritage, about whatever it might be. Be mindful of your business being aired on social media at this time, unfortunately. And I wonder if we could see this, it could be an issue with safety, anything that has a security or a technological slant to it, like alarms going on the fritz, all that kind of stuff. So just be mindful of that. Like, especially like if you're going away for a while and you've got an alarm, just make sure, double check it's working, everything's good. Venus sextile to Pluto, the ruler of the 7th and the 12th in the 5th, right? So this isn't just sexy. It's potentially an old flame being struck up for those of you that are single, obviously. This is falling into bed without realizing it happened. It's catching a cheeky glimpse of whatever that excites you. If you're partnered, you're going to be back, you're going to be like teenagers, basically. It's just going to be like, okay, we need them to get a room. If you're single, there's options, right? Who doesn't like having options? If you're not interested in any of this, the universe might have other plans. So this could be, I'm not interested in a relationship, not looking for that kind of thing. And then bam, you meet someone and you're like, holy crap, why is this happening now, right? I like this as well for relationships or reconnections with people that you dated, but you don't make it public. So maybe you get back with an ex, but you don't talk about it until you feel ready. Nothing wrong with that. It's kind of on par with the Scorpio trope, no offense. It might be as well, you have a chance to work hard behind the scenes on something to make something more efficient on a creative project that is in alignment with what you really desire on that deeper level. So there's something here where it's kind of like it might all just come together and you're like, oh my gosh, this thing is writing itself or it's creating itself. So your card is the Five of Pentacles. So I feel like this is going to be a tech thing. This could be a PC, it could be a phone, it could be, something like that. It may be something that you leave outside. We've all been there, where, I don't know, you leave your bike outside, you come out and it's gone. It could be something like that, but I feel like this will have a technological slant. So if you've got technology, don't leave your electric heater out in the garden because it might get pilfered, or, maybe it rains and you're like, holy crap, I can't use that again. Do you see what I mean? All right, so for Sagittarius, this new moon for you is happening in your 4th house of home, family, property. It's bringing your attention to all of those things as well. Remember, the 4th house is your deep emotional conditioning as well. It's the stuff that our family give us. Love them or loathe them, can't live with them, can't live without them, all of that stuff. All of our family impart good stuff and challenging stuff as well, right? It goes with the territory, as they say. So for some of you, this might be the need to cleanse or dream your space. And what I mean by that is to envision something bigger and better for the home or for the family. So let's say you're currently in a 2-bed house. You've got 3 or 4 kids, you need something bigger, it's not in the budget right now, or whatever the case might be. Use this to envision that, to dream it into being and say, universe, this is what I need. You need to make this happen, right? Sometimes the greatest magic that we can, perform or summon, or manifest, if you like, comes from a place of true need. Sometimes that really is it. It's enough to petition the universe to say, look, this is really what I need from you at this moment in time. Please help me. And when it comes from a place of deep need or deep sincerity and a heartfelt space, it's always more powerful. New moon trine to the South Node. The new moon trine to the South Node for you, it has a compounding effect, this one, and it so what I've put here is it's time to work out your karmic baggage, also time for you to work out your stuff around family or to release it, and it might also be where you're ready to break away from patterns in emotional or family history that you feel ready to be free of. I love that, right? Because when we can release the icky stuff around our familial ties and connections, it actually helps us create new ones, right? In order to create something new, sometimes we have to pull apart whatever is already in its place. Excuse me. In the dissociated connection to Saturn, between your 3rd and 4th houses, it could be solid connections that comes through friends and neighbours. So you might find support in potentially in siblings, but also in neighbours. It's also said that no one parents all their children the same, right? So how I received my mother is never going to be the same way that my sister receives my mother. Do you see what I mean? And so this might be a time where, maybe if you're willing to do the work and you're willing to open up the familial can of worms, some healing could come from this, but it's not going to be easy. Expect some potentially heavy conversations, all right? Now, Mercury trine to Mars. Mercury rules your 7th and your 10th houses, and it's in your 3rd house. New partnerships for the work or the career sector. Mars is giving Mercury like a really nice boost of energy. It means that you could actually accomplish a lot in the 2 weeks after this new moon. You might get more done than maybe you've been able to get done since January. Very possible. Mars as ruler of your 5th and 12th houses means that the connection could also, some of these new connections could grease the wheels on releasing a project or helping it run its course. Remember, Mars has a severing and releasing energy. It is technically a malefic planet, so no matter how well it's playing, there's always going to be an element of potential irritation to it. Mercury square to Uranus. Questions around technology, resources and the running of your business if you have one. It could also be as well that you're bogged down by something in the daily grind. I really kind of see this as a moment where it's like, think fast, right? Something happens in the locality, maybe something happens at the job where you're like, everything was going like this and then boom, and you're like, oh shit, okay, need to deal with that now, right? So just be mindful of that. When it comes to work, expect sudden withdrawals, moments where people just kind of walk out, or say, I can't work with you anymore, I can't work for you anymore, or, and it could be just like, it might just really come out of nowhere and you're like, whoa, okay. Venus exalted in your 4th house of home, property, family, in a beautiful exact sextile to Pluto in your 2nd house of money, finances, and resources. This is a financial win or a gain of some kind. I really like this for realizing the true potential that an idea of yours has. Hidden wealth or resources that come through family or friends, definitely possible right now. Maybe some kind of financial support that you're not expecting, or maybe financial support that maybe has been available to you all this time and it's like you just didn't realize it. It could also be that you feel drawn to make more money, and it might be as well. So what I put here was listen to hot tips that come from friends, because they could be very useful right now. So this could be where, like, maybe a friend says to you, oh, this stock is a really good thing to buy right now. As long as they're not involved and you don't have to give them the money and you can do it yourself, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Your card is the 6 of Cups. Reconnections, right? Especially with siblings or people from your childhood or your deep past. This is memories as well that come to the surface that could actually be very beneficial or very happy making in some way, shape, or form. So I actually really like that for you guys. All right, so for Capricorn, for Capricorn, this for you guys is happening in your 3rd house of... So it's said in astrology that Luna, the moon, exalts in the 3rd house. This is where she does some of her best work, because the moon is about the everyday. It's about the material world, the tangible. And in the 3rd house of the daily happenings, right? So not so much like the daily grind, but everything that happens on a day-to-day level, how we communicate, how we respond to each other. That's 3rd house stuff. So this new moon might be a chance for you to understand something at a much deeper level. Remember, a new moon is a fresh start or a new beginning. It might also be some kind of opportunity or fresh start in the area that you live might show up for you. So if you're asked to volunteer, or maybe your kids say to you, oh, can you come on this school trip with us, or they need a dinner lady at the school, or I don't know, maybe you're asked to join the parish council. Let's say, well, that's the thing we have here in the UK. I don't know if they have parishes anywhere else. Maybe I don't know. Possible. If you're looking to develop any kind of new skill, this is a fantastic time to do it. And the reason I say that is because the 3rd house is skills. It's the things that it's your soft skills. It's being able to type really fast on the PC, also knowing how to create a spreadsheet for, pivot tables and all the rest. That's 3rd house kind of stuff. Those things could be very useful right now, and anything that you decide to start incorporating in that sort of way could actually be very helpful. New moon trine to the South Node. South Node is in your 11th house. This could be a release of a friendship that might have run its course. It could also be letting go of or releasing a group of some sort that maybe has run its course, or maybe you're changing the way that you interact with groups, social media, etc. So one thing that I've put here as well, it could be that a long-held goal or dream is either laid to rest or transformed. So as an example, when I was younger, I used to sing, dance and act. That was, my whole thing. I was going to do performing arts. I loved it. And in the end, I wanted it so much that I couldn't enjoy it anymore. It was like not having certain things happen, and all the rest of it was just so painful that it was like, I got to put this down because it's just not good for me. you could end up forging a new path here for your long-term future, and it could be one that you absolutely revel in. So your new moon conjunct your ruling planet, which is currently in your second house of money, finances, and resources. You will be glad to know that Saturn, the restrictor, the limit bringer, the lord and taskmaster, is moving out of your second house of money. So your finances are going to become a lot easier. What this has really done for you is it's not only helped you value money more, it's seen you really get very savvy on how to live on less. So now when Saturn moves into Pisces, you're going to see not only will your finances start to go up, money will be easier to come by, and also you will value that money even more. All right, that could be really nice. I like this as well for like I said, it's steadying the new moon, and this will see the new skills that you're learning enhancing your earning potential. So continual self-development is the theme of this new moon for you, for sure, and putting that into play. Mercury trine Mars, so ruler of your 6th and 9th in the 3rd house, is prompting some of you to think about retraining at school, gaining new skills, getting really proactive about it, maybe because it's in the 6th, Mars is in the 6th house as well. Mars exalts in the 6th house. It loves to do that because it makes you serious about the work that you have to do. So the quality of your work as a Capricorn is always A grade. This could take it to another level, absolutely. You're getting a nice boost from Mars to get serious about how you're using your time. So your routines, like this could be, this new moon might see you say to yourself, yeah, you know what? I need to get serious about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and how I'm using my time. It might also see you get really serious about your health and, health and physical health regimes. Animals could bring joy at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of you gain new pets. Mercury square to Uranus, pleasure, romance, and even children, if you have them, could be surprising burden right now. So this could be, maybe they require more from you at the moment than you realized, or maybe it's kind of like you're doing this thing with work and you're working really hard, and then bam, all of a sudden your kids need you for something, and it's like, and now I have to split my focus. It might feel for some of you kind of like a moment where it's like, I was just starting to gain some traction on this, and then this thing pulls you off your course. It's not pulling you off course, it's just asking you, again, if you've got a solid routine, you should have time for everything. And if you've been with me long enough, you know I hate that word, so forgive me. Be clear on where you need to focus on yourself. Whether this is a personal or a pet project, it might require a little more skill than you have. And it might also be a moment where you feel the fear and release the damn thing anyway. All right. Finally, Venus sextile to Pluto. Pluto's been in your sign since 2008, is gearing up to leave. You're going to have a little moment where you kind of go, oh, yeah, okay, I can breathe a little better. Everything feels a bit lighter. And then in July, it's going to come back in and you're going to be like, oh yeah, here we go. Until January of 2024, right? Now, what I put here was, in the job that you do or do not, it might see you kind of stop thinking, whatever you do for a job, whether you've got your own business, whether you work for somebody else, this might actually see you say to yourself, I need to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like a boss or a business owner. Whatever impact that's going to have on your job, I can't tell you. Only you can tell you that. All right, so your card for this is the 4 of Cups. If you want things to move forward, if you want advancement, if you want to get out into the world, if you want things to change, especially on an emotional level, this month, or should I say this new moon, is helping you get dynamic about it, but it's going to come from a place of true honesty. This is where you are or are not valuing what is in front of you. All right, so pay attention to the cues that are coming from in here. For Aquarius, my sun sign brothers and sisters, this Pisces new moon is happening in your second house of money, finances, resources. It's also going to be seeing, so this new moon is obviously initiating a change in how you see money, how you spend money, how you use money. Now this is an important one to pay attention to, because remember, when Saturn, your ruling planet, moves into your second house, it's going to see you start to get very much it's going to see you have to get very serious and potentially more responsible with your finances and your resources. Now, the second house, being your money, your values, etc., is also the space of materials. Because it's Pisces for you, Aquarians tend to kind of take this easy come, easy go, give it away to who needs it approach to money. All right. And so this new moon is going to highlight to you where you need new thoughts around this. And then Saturn, when it comes in on March the 7th, is going to say this is where you need to get a bit more serious and start, using what you have better. When we feel compensated well for what we do, we always want to give more. So for those of you that have your own business, this might be where your self-worth changes, and so therefore you raise your prices. This could be where you start to think to yourself, okay, you know what, I've given everything to this job for the last 5 years, and you say to your boss, you either promote me or I'm a walk, right? Whatever the market is doing outside right now, you need to come with better. I love this as well for a deeply enhanced sense of self-worth, self-preservation, self-care, and self-love. And therefore, this allows you to attract or hold more. It's an amplification of something, right? It's an amplification that kind of, it's just enhancing your earning potential through an amplification of how you view and see yourself. In a trine to the South Node in your 10th house of career, so this could be letting go of a job in favor for something more fulfilling, so there could be a new job coming in. It might be the end of an old job role and the start of a new one, so maybe you get a promotion at this time, very possible. I actually like this for giving you a lot of clarity about the things that you're busy phasing out right now. And obviously, March, Pluto is going to come into the sign of Aquarius. So once Saturn is out, Pluto then comes, you're going to have like a 2-week break where it's like, okay, all right, we're good. And then Pluto comes in. And that's where the real deep work is going to start. All right, so pay attention to that. It's only going to be there till July, but it will be a deep moment. And I think it's going to be a herald, all right? Pay attention to what shows up then, because you're going to feel that. Okay. New moon in a dissociated conjunction to our ruling planet. So I put here, yes! I am so fucking here for this, because the new moon in the second is getting a nice steadying boost from Saturn in your sign. And I actually like this as well. Remember, Aquarius is the sign of the future. Pisces is about dreaming in that ethereal realm. And so what this gives us an ability to do is to start to really envision and dream what we want from our finances, so that that's the new moon, right? When Saturn then comes into Pisces, into that second house, it's going to say, right, you dreamt of this thing. Now I'm going to make you what you need to be in order to have that dream for that money or resource or whatever it is that you might want. Okay, so I'm here for it. He's strengthened, dignified, refined, and humbled Aquarians for the last 2.5 years. Now's the time to start collecting. Saturn is going to enter Pisces on March the 7th. This is a preparation point. Do not fucking waste it, all right? Like, if you are an Aquarius, if you've got strong Aquarius placements, this new moon is where your Saturn work begins in that second house, all right? It's not March 7th when Saturn comes into Pisces. This new moon is where your second house Saturn stuff begins, right? Dream it. Envision it into being. You're an Aquarius. You know how to do this stuff. It's also going to see you working harder to gather resources, and another layer of this humbling effect. It also means that you're going to be busy with the right level of commitment and booked out too. So I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it. Mercury trine Mars. Mercury is a ruler of your 5th and your 8th houses. Do you feel lucky? you know, do you feel lucky, punk? Right, so with this energy, you actually could be very lucky. Especially because it's in a trine to the ruler of your third house and your 10th house. This could be some much needed oomph, like a go get 'em kind of energy, but it could also be an opportunity that comes in through the work that happens more on a grassroots level. Mercury's in its exaltation in Aquarius, as per modern astrology. It's a well dignified Mercury, so I really like this for true self-expression, and I like it as well for being more comfortable in your own skin. And I think as well, part of the Saturn transit of Saturn through Aquarius has also been about that, because I definitely feel more like myself than I have in a long time. And that happened once Saturn went direct this time. The last time, because it's not going to go retrograde in Aquarius again. Once that ended, which I think was in December, at that point I was kind of like, yeah, I feel more like myself than I have in a long time. I remember having this conversation with a really good friend. We were on a road trip, which is something that I love to do, just randomly jump in a car and go to really fucking weird, crazy places. We went to the beach, and if you'd have seen the weather, you would have been in hysterics. It was ridiculous. In fact, I don't even think that was December. I think it was early January. Anyway, you get my point. What I'd put here as well is it might see you expressing yourself even more authentically and kind of not giving two shits about what anybody thinks. The more you are, the more money you will make moving forward. That is true. Mercury square to Uranus, so your first house and your fourth house are definitely getting lit up right now. This kind of suggests that who you're becoming and how you're getting there might upset your family of origin. You know, maybe it's you come out of, the closet, maybe come out of the broom closet. I'm spiritual, I do astrology, or I'm a pagan, I'm into witchcraft and stuff, pearl clutching and all of that stuff. It could be a shocking development. Maybe somebody comes out to you and you're kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'm not really sure what to do with that, but yeah, no, this is cool. I've also put here as well, because of some of the shocking developments, this gave me the feeling of like, where there's that old film, and it's not like a horror story. Well, this film is a horror story, but I don't think it'll be a horror story for you. I just feel like it potentially kind of has you go, okay. This is one of those moments of the call is coming from inside the house, right? Where it's kind of like you think it's one thing, you think it's one way, and then you find out it's something very different, and you're like, okay, not sure what to do with this right now, but I'll find a way to deal. That's what Aquarians do, right? I think here as well, maybe you're rethinking your connections or things on a deeper level. If you have, I wouldn't be surprised as well if there's potentially some kind of electrical problem in the house. If you have children, obviously hands, fingers, you can get those things that you plug into the socket so that you can't put your finger in there. Just shore up the defenses that are normally in place. Venus sextile to Pluto. This is a sexy aspect, I think. It just oozes sex to me. It really does, for a few signs. So this is in your 12th, you've got Pluto. In your 2nd, you've got money. This is either hidden resources making themselves known. It might also be that you're working behind the scenes on something that has the potential to bring either good or big money further down the line. It might be as well for some of you, you reconnect with somebody from your past that has a financial offer or opportunity for you. You might be in two minds about this because of who it is, let's say. In a local environment, but also somewhat interesting way, it could be returning to an old dietary or health practice. So let's say you were a vegetarian for years and then you stopped. Let's say you've eaten meat your whole life and now you decide to switch that up. And I also like this for someone you truly love and value being an important feature and potentially a reconnection. So this could be someone that you really have a lot of love for. Maybe you haven't seen them forever. Maybe you haven't connected to them in a long time. So lots going on there. For your card, you have the King of Cups. So a water sign male, Pisces, Cancer or Scorpio could feature for you this month. This may also be that you are commanding your own emotional resources and your internal power more powerfully than ever before. And it's like by doing so, it allows you to truly kind of, it's like it allows you to truly tap into your own personal power and your own creativity. It's like you're seeing yourself through newfound eyes, and there's a new sense of self-love and appreciation that comes through because of it. And then finally, last but definitely not least, this is your new moon, Pisces. Give me 2 seconds. So this is it, right? This is, you get one new moon, one full moon per sign per year. This is yours. This is your moment, my darlings, to envision a new future for yourself. Now, I always say whatever happens in the first house, you know me, not totally, because, I mean, hello, planets, celestial bodies, but you get a modicum of control. So what do you want from your life? What do you want for your future? This is a time to really think about that and to be honest with yourself about what it is, all right? Now, whatever you're setting into motion for yourself over the next 6 to 12 months, this is the time to set those intentions. This is a manifesting new moon. Use it or lose it. That is as simple as I can put it. If this is a birthday new moon, you're kind of blessed at this point, right? So that's nice. Use it again. New moon trine to the south node in your 9th house. This is going to see you really not only envisioning or creating new beliefs, but putting new structures in your life that allow you to think beyond what you've known before. I really like this for potentially international connections. I really love this for some of you as well, to envision a future for yourself that is free of your old or limiting beliefs. This is potentially it's almost like, the universe is kind of saying to you, how you do this new moon, what you are thinking about and feeling into is what you're getting more of. That's always the case around big sort of astrological transits, especially new and full moons. But this gives you a chance to change it because it's in that trine to the south node. You have a chance here to really kind of connect with something bigger, more vast than yourself. House of God, 9th house, right? And anything that happens in the 9th has a future orientated energy to it. So you're not just seeding stuff for like, the next 2 weeks, or it's like this is the next 6 to 12 months. And it's potentially even longer than that for some of you as well. New moon conjunct Saturn, dissociated conjunction. This for you, with Saturn in the 12th house, it's been making things very real and very clear what your self-sabotaging tendencies have been. Where you get in your own way, where you stunt and halt your own progress, where you don't allow yourself to really be all that you can. That's what Saturn's been trying to get you to wake up to. And it's trying to get you to dredge up your past so that you can clear yourself and free yourself of whatever the beliefs or the holdups might have been, so that you can cleanse them and release them. Now, Saturn exalts in the 12th house, so he's done some pretty good work here. What I love about this for you is that you've given yourself a crash course, whether you wanted it or not, right? As Saturn's going to come into your sign, you might continue, you have to continue doing this work, right? It's gone into the depths of who you are and it's ripped out all of the shit and it's brought it all to the surface so you can say, okay, you know what? This is the stuff that holds me back or holds me down. As it comes into your first house, it's going to start to rebuild you, right? But in order to do that, it's got to finish off the work that it's been doing. Don't stop here. It's also adding a steadying kind of influence to this new moon, and it's grounding your personal energies to it. So it's kind of like you're getting some celestial, spiritual, or universal support. And I will say as well, pay attention to dreams, pay attention to your feelings, and even if you have like daydreams and reveries, pay attention to those at this time, because the chances are you're going to see some pretty awesome stuff. there will definitely be messages from spirit around this time. Mercury trine Mars. So as the ruler of your 4th and your 7th house, home matters, property matters, family matters are all going to be to the forefront for you. You might start looking for fun ways to have more sexual chemistry or connection with somebody, because remember the 7th house is relationships. This is Mercury in the 12th. Make it fun, all right? Bring an element of fun and enjoyment to it. The 12th house is also the bedroom, so intimacy and connection can get really exciting. It might be you and a partner try something, you know, like nudity in the house for the whole month, for the whole week, or, you know, something like that. Something just quirky and a little bit out there. Mars, maybe not when you're cooking, use an apron. Mars in the 4th house as ruler, especially if you're frying stuff. Oh gosh, Raph. As your ruler of your 2nd and your 9th. That could be international connections somehow that become lucrative for you. It might also be teaching and learning, and it could be ideas that you've been developing at home that you're planning to release out into the world. If you're publishing books or blog posts or anything like this, this could be a really good time to do so. Now, Mercury square Uranus, this is 3rd house, 12th house stuff. Potential for technological or electrical problems or issues, especially with neighbours. So, you know, maybe one of them is fixing, let's say the upstairs neighbour is fixing something and they put the whole lights out for the building. Or, a power cut is one way that it could show up as well. I like this for reprioritizing matters, or reprioritizing of what matters for you on a daily level, whether this is your commute or the grind, what it's, you know, the content that you're consuming. This might be where you say to yourself, you know what, I need to shake this up. I need to start doing some different stuff every day, because at the moment I've got cabin fever, things aren't happening the way that I'd like, I'm not enjoying my life or my job or my whatever. So there's a disruption here that could really shake things up for you, but it's kind of like it knocks you out of complacency. And then finally, Venus in a sextile to Pluto. So this is 11th house, 1st house stuff. At this point, at the point of the new moon, you've had Venus in your sign for a while. So she's been beautifying you, making you more attractive, more acquiescent, making people more acquiescent to you. So it's like people are more likely to give you what you want. If there's things that you want to ask for, Venus in your sign is definitely a good time to do so. This is Venus sextile to Pluto. So you're sexy and alluring. And what I like about this is, as the ruler of your 3rd and your 8th house, I like this for asking for more money, asking for, or maybe even being really honest with yourself about what you desire personally. It could also see you get really honest about the financial rewards and benefits that you want, or you could be receiving them, especially from, from friends. This could be maybe somebody buys you a gift. I mean, we're in your season, so this could literally be like really nice birthday gifts that you don't expect. As it's a sextile, it will need to be worked. Remember, sextiles are opportunities. So you have to do something with the energy that's present or available to you. It could see, for some of you, friends could become lovers. Lovers could become friends. I also like this for a new shared dream with a partner becoming clearer. We want to buy our own home. We want to start our own business. We want to have a family. We want to buy some land and, have a farm, whatever it might be. There's something here for the future that is now having a chance to kind of be aired out. And your card for this is the 8 of Pentacles. So this is all about work, career, getting to work, doing the work, making it work. This is about real commitment and focus and determination for you guys, especially around the work that it takes to reinvent yourself. This is a new moon in your sign. This is a point where you can change something about the life that you're experiencing. So I would say get to it. With that said, If you like my style of astrology, I really hope you enjoyed this. I know it was a very long video. There are chapters, so don't worry, you'll be able to kind of check in and out as you please. Let me know in the comments how you think about, how you feel about this, whether you enjoyed it, whether you want to see more of it. Stay clear, stay tuned for the new moon and the full moon reports. They'll be coming every month now. And on top of that, if you like my style of astrology, you can book yourself an astro mandala. Many of you have asked if I do natal chart readings. An astro mandala is a natal chart reading with a little bit of a twist. So you can get that on the link in the description box below. It would be lovely to connect to you in that way. Hopefully you've enjoyed this and you will be getting a lot more of it in the future. So with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Take care and I'll see you soon.